Are you struggling to feel good in these current times? Are you finding yourself feeling overwhelmed and demoralized by what's happening in the world and wondering, how did this occur? Are you getting caught in the tug and pull of right and wrong and me against you and righteous indignation, rage, revenge, and this relentless noise that keeps us all feeling so unsafe and disconnected from one another, from our bodies, from our peace, from our earth? These are difficult times. We are at a tipping point. And we are going to talk today about how to navigate this and how to take care of yourself, how to find your way to your higher dimension, because all this crisis is only occurring on the third dimension. And the third dimension is not a place as much as it is a state of mind that misidentifies who we are and leads us down a path of choices that keep perpetuating more crisis, more pain, more destruction, and more drama. My name's Sonia Choquette. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're new to my channel, I very much welcome you. I hope you find something valuable in this conversation. If you're coming back and you've been with me for a while, I welcome you back, where we are working together in this great transformation, in this very uncomfortable but ultimately progressive and evolutionary time. But we don't change things without a great deal of provocation, right? We humans wait to the very last minute. So it is not an easy time right now. Today, I'll be working both sharing with you what I know, and I also channel a beautiful group of guides and have for over 20, maybe 30 years now, the emissaries of the third ray. They're divine teachers who are helping us change our consciousness, activate our internal sensory awareness. We have the 5 external physical senses to give us some guidance in the world. Frankly, not very accurate guidance if you really think about it. But to wake up our inner senses that help us tune in to the range of energy that our 5 senses simply aren't equipped to do. We have an inner sense called clairsentience, where we can feel energy. You can just rub your hands like this right now and feel it going palm to palm. We are feeling that, but not just with our hands, with our whole bodies. But we haven't maybe been taught or had affirmed that this is natural. And for a lot of people, it's been dormant until lately. So this clairsentience is waking up, which is why a lot of us are feeling so suddenly, unbelievably uncomfortable in our own skin, looking for a sense of safety, because all of a sudden what we've numbed out, we are no longer able to do. Both our own energy and the energy of others is starting to become extremely conscious so we can change it. We also have something called clairvoyance, which is the awakening of the inner eye, the eye that imagines. When you visualize and you imagine, that's your third eye. That clairvoyance is also helping us see what our physical eyes are not capable of seeing because of their limitation. And the biggest thing we're starting to be recognized and become more aware of, it's not like we're seeing with our eyes, it's like we're comprehending with our insight that we are connected to other human beings and this earth and spirit, and that we are not isolated and alone, trapped animals that have to protect ourselves from others who want to hurt us. That's a big shift when you start to have that seeing experience, that insight, that perception that what I thought was real is limited, and there's so much more that is becoming apparent. Illusions and distortions are starting to lift. And so with that is a lot more information. So we have to adjust our nervous systems. Plus, we also have to start affirming and validating what it is we are feeling and sensing and seeing and perceiving, as valid and real and legitimate, and most of all, important, because this is what we call a new human, not the 5 sensory human, but the 6, 7 sensory human, where we don't just operate in the 3rd dimension, which is the frequency of physical appearances, the physical dimension. It looks like everything's separate, like I'm separate from you, and the chair's over there, and there's a country over there, and separate people over there, and it looks like everything is disconnected and overwhelming to me. Quantum physics is the beginning of our evolution to understanding the way nature and vibration on this planet really is. So we start expanding it, and we start to recognize that while things appear to be solid, including me, if we look closer and we study and discern even more intently, we begin to see actually everything is energy. And our physical eyes are not equipped to recognize the subtle frequencies that create this appearance. So we're starting to understand that we are energy beings. That's going into what we call the 4th dimension. The 4th dimension understanding of life, when it's like, imagine an accordion and we're stretching it to pick up and perceive more. We're stretching it both this way and this way and this way. So we begin to exercise an understanding and a skill to perceive what is more than meets the eye. Then we have to reevaluate our belief systems and our sense of how to navigate this world. So many of us are there. It's like, well, why am I feeling something that my senses aren't validating? Why am I suddenly recognizing a connection with what I've been told all my life are the people I need to fear or judge? Why all of a sudden is it not okay to throw a piece of garbage on the ground or just indiscriminately use plastic and don't care? Why all of a sudden do I feel that I have to review that? That's because you're evolving. We are all being forced to evolve because, as you have heard before, necessity is the mother of invention. It is necessary for us to coexist on this planet and live peacefully and safely and harmoniously for any amount of time. We have to change our perceptions and remove the ones that justify or encourage behaviors and choices that cause harm to everything, that will annihilate us, that the behaviors that justify wars and attack and dismissal of the earth and ignoring our inner guidance, and those choices are, the price of those choices is too high. It hurts us all, whether your ego can justify that it doesn't matter if I throw garbage out, it doesn't matter if I have want to harm someone who I perceive is threatening to me. It doesn't, my assaults are justified. The 3rd dimension will always keep us in a state of war and conflict, fear and control and isolation, and nobody wins. There is no out. The only out is to go to the 4th and 5th dimension. The 4th starts to review, revisit, reevaluate, and ask yourself, is what I'm operating on, are my perceptions accurate? Am I feeling something different inside and it's incongruent with what my head is telling me or what others are telling me? That's the beginning of your inner senses waking up. And then when you get to the 5th dimension of you, when you really start connecting with the spirit, the essence, the divine essence of who you are, do you know you start to enter a more peaceful state of mind and become a peacemaker in the world? You start to recognize that we are connected and that energy affects one another, and that when I bring a positive, higher, more joyful energy to a situation, it lifts everything up. When I bring depth and appreciation and I bring a deep sense of commitment to love to anything around me, it improves. Everything improves. Everything starts to relax. Everything starts to ease and heal, which means become whole again. So we humans are being forced by all this crisis to start looking for solutions in new areas, in new ways. We are starting to activate these inner centers. One of the most important ways in which we are being activated is our inner senses, our intuitive senses are starting to wake up and guide us. Now, I'm sure you're starting to have what we call downloads, all of a sudden aha understandings or shifts of perception, feelings of guidance that are not coming from your five sensory feedback system. It's like all of a sudden you might have a feeling to go there or avoid this or step away or try this. And these feelings are subtle, but these are inner guidance responses to energy that are trying to guide you into the best and most beautiful experience you can have. Now, same with clairvoyance. All of a sudden, you may have sudden ahas. You may feel or perceive or see solutions that never occurred to you. The 3D world of ego and physicality gives us the perception, gives us the illusion that there are no solutions. But there always are solutions. We just have to do things differently. Are you having a sensitivity all of a sudden to other people that you were numb to before? Can you feel all of a sudden, or are you becoming aware these are toxic thoughts this person is having, or this is toxic energy? It's sickening me. I need to step away. Or conversely, wow, that person has really good vibes. That person has really good energy. I feel better around that person. I want to be more in that direction or like that. What we need to do now, and what I want to talk about this week, is tools, ways in which we can not only activate these inner centers that will take us to a higher, more peaceful experience for ourselves and help us become that influence for others. And these tools are necessary because our mindset and our value systems have been really entrenched with you're an ego, you have to protect yourself, everyone's an enemy, if you have inner feelings, you're a weirdo, and forget about that. So we've been trained to abandon and betray and distrust our inner self, our divine self. Now we need to reverse that, more now than ever. So there will be a couple tools that will really help this. The first is, don't be afraid you're a weirdo. You know, the word weirdo or weird means actually out of this world. So if you think about it and think it through, it is out of this world. When you are picking up energy, it's out of the physical world. So if someone says you're a weirdo, you need to say, I am. I am aware of more than meets the eye. And to someone who isn't, that is weird. But to those who do have that sensitivity, it's perfectly normal. Now, I bring this up because I've been working with people for over 50 years, and honest to God, it is our number one fear. People say, I am intuitive or I'm getting these downloads, but I'm so scared. I don't want people to think I'm a weirdo. And at the root of that, the real fear is I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be banished. I don't want to feel cut off. So that was a threat. And for some, maybe in the past, it was even an experience that you had. So we want to make peace with that. You don't want to be defensive if someone calls you a weirdo. The best protection so that you don't disconnect from your inner guidance system is to just have a sense of humor and say, really have a response. You know, to those who don't understand energy or understand that we pick up energy, which even quantum physics validates, it does feel unnatural. But it's perfectly normal because we are energetic beings and we're learning to understand that. Now, that is a very grounded, natural, relaxed response. So say it to yourself if the fear of the weirdo thing is in your own head, because most of the time, that fear isn't something that is mirroring of what is actually happening. That fear is what your concern is could happen. And maybe it happened in the past, or maybe you observed it happening to others. But you're a grown adult. You are able to acknowledge and affirm yourself And you want to take not a combative, that's back to third dimension, approach. It's sort of a yes and. Yes, if you only operate with your five senses, that does seem unnatural. But if you're actually aware of your inner senses and that we are energetic beings that are actually able to respond to emotions and thoughts and energy in a room, and it's happening because we are energetic beings, which science is now affirming, you make it very matter of fact. That is a very excellent tool. Secondly, you have to manage that in opening these centers, I'm actually picking up more energy, and it is affecting me, so I have to live a bit differently than when I was numbed out. And one of the things you want to be aware of is if you get overloaded, if you get sensory overload, as we wake up these inner centers, it's very important to give yourself enough quiet time and alone time. And these might be choices that never occurred to you to make. If you find yourself agitated, reactive, emotional, quickly upset, intolerant, impatient, overly reactive to things, you just are in overload. So much going on, and you're waking up your centers and you are being bombarded with so much more stimulation than you're used to, and you haven't created the necessary kind of filters and boundaries to stop that invasion. And so you explode. It's like too much. So recognize this. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge others. Just put yourself in timeout. Give yourself some alone time. Stop the stimulation. Sit alone. Be quiet. And watch your breathing. And maybe more breath in counts than exhale is very regulating to your inner system, and it helps you download and kind of release some of this over agitation. So a breath in, like one hand here on the heart, one on the belly, and it's breathe in to the count of 4, hold for two breaths, exhale to the count of 6. Do that 10, 20 times. And if you lose your concentration, just start again. But that re-regulates you. And then shut off the stimulation. Now, that's good for controlling the outer stimulation. So what can we do about that inner crisis going on, of, the 5-alarm fire going off in your brain? Listen to music. I just was watching someone's Instagram, and I should have paid more attention, but I did take it as very true, because it's true for me, that listening to certain types of music is just as effective in relaxing your nervous system, easing anxiety, and even lifting depression as drugs have been in the past, maybe more so. And I do know that a particular genre of music called Baroque music, Mozart, Telemann, Vivaldi, you can Google it, Baroque, Baroque, has the same tempo as if you're in deep meditation. So if you're not able to meditate because you're so agitated, listening with headphones to this kind of music cut, away from everyone else for 15 minutes is like a vacation from all this upset and agitation that's throwing you off your game and keeping you rather feeling so fearful and unsafe. Another thing you can do is journal. Journaling does two things. The first thing is it empties the garbage in your brain. So the first one thing you want to journal is maybe everything you're afraid of. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid the world's blowing up. I'm afraid I'm losing my mind. I'm afraid I'm alone. I'm afraid I have no money. Don't even care. Just journal. And I call that emptying the garbage. When that starts to settle down, you want to start journaling and acknowledging what you intuitively feel. My inner voice says, my heart says, and to that end, I've created, and you can get this, maybe it helps, is my Trust Your Vibes guided journal, where it literally asks the questions that take you to these inner senses, to your intuition, to your clairsentience. We've been taught to ignore that inner voice, that inner guidance, that inner transmission, whereas my Trust Your Vibes journal is going to take those questions, are going to help you go right to that source. So you can journal, just generally, but if you need a little extra help, you can get the Trust Your Vibes guided journal, and that will kind of direct you. But journaling quiets the overload, and it's an aha for what your inner self is saying. And the most important thing about that is when you write something down, you validate it. So it's easy to ignore your inner guidance when you have no anchoring or no framework, no scaffolding to support it. But when you write it down, you have evidence. In 2 weeks, you're going to go back and read that and go, I was accurate. That was accurate. I was accurately reading the energy of that experience or that person or that choice. So that's something to really think about. Doing it's very helpful and takes 5 minutes. I recommend, if you're going to use the journal tool, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. So the other thing you can do, and this is so obvious, but it really does make a difference, is drink water regularly. Now there's lots of these water bottles where you can, big ones and sometimes big ones, but just filling it up and being able to have it right in your space, not ice water, not cold water. Tea's okay, but you sip that and that's okay if it's non-caffeine tea. But this hydration keeps your body out of fight or flight. It keeps the adrenaline, it keeps the agitation at bay, and it actually, hydration stimulates these inner senses. You are more aware. So it quiets the noise and the adrenaline that creates that noise, that inner agitation, but also it clears the windshield, if you will, and helps you perceive things a little more accurately. Now, here's another big tool. I want you to pause before reacting. I want you to just get in your mind the power of the pause. Just say that right now, the power of the pause. In other words, pause and take a breath before you make choices. Put your hand on your heart and belly if it's possible. Just go, and take a breath and pause, and then listen for inner guidance. This is a habit to develop. Rather than just jump and react, which is your nervous system and your third dimension ego, which I call your barking dog, kind of jumping in and attacking. Pause. And if you're really agitated, you could put one hand on your belly, or you can cross your arms. And that's a somatic thing, almost like hugging yourself. That exhale releases that stress. And pause. Say, let me pause for a minute. And this is a big one. It's a very big game changer. The power of the pause and the breath before you make a choice, before you do something, will help you. And then just keep saying, what is the best, most beautiful thing for me? What is the most calming, loving choice I can make right now? That is what the pause is checking in. I want to go to the fifth dimension of me, which is this expanded awareness. One of the ways to consider this is the third dimension is like being stuck in a really agitated traffic jam where everybody's honking their horns and really stressed out, anxious, can't control, so they're getting more agitated. That is your third dimension. The fourth dimension is if maybe you have a bicycle and you can kind of maneuver around, but you're still pretty much on the horizontal point of view, but you can see openings. You're not trapped. There's more mobility. There's more movement. Whereas the fifth dimension is that you are maybe in a helicopter. You're above it all. You can see the whole thing and you can see further out. You can see what's happening and you're not in it. So you're not agitated. You don't feel trapped and controlled. That fifth dimension is a calmer, more creative state. That is your open, these inner senses, clairvoyance, clairaudience, intuition, that we can see solutions and we can see, this is connecting to this. This is causing this. This car is a flat tire, caused this car to crash into this, caused this guy to get mad. So drama. You rise above it. And you have compassion for the whole thing. Nobody can see what's causing this, but from the fifth dimension, you can. So these tools that I'm giving you, the pause, like I'm going to look at this from the vantage point of my inner self and my spirit. And I'm going to ask for that. Now, this might seem like a stretch, but we all have a spirit. It's not an elusive needle in a haystack. It's the power that gives our heart to beat. That's why you put your hands on it or cross over. You go there and you review from that loving, neutral space. Which leads me to my final tool for today. And I've said it before, but I really want to say it again, is actually intentionally cultivate the power to laugh at things. Laughter instantly puts you in this expanded fifth dimension, neutral, open-hearted, loving space. Not cynical laughter, not that what's perceived as laughter, but was just anxiety and snickering, but genuine, gleeful laughter. So cultivate that because we forget. But when you go to that higher frequency, you move into this more expanded version of you. And you're at peace. And you are powerfully at peace. And that laughter and that joy and that expanded state first will calm and reset your own nervous system, but it also transmits that same powerful energy to everything around you. And it too then can be influenced and reset. So that's how to navigate. These are some tools in how to navigate these times. None are radical or difficult. They just take some awareness and a few new habits. Drinking water, journaling, pausing, breathing, time out, listening to music. All of these things are very powerfully effective in keeping you moving in the direction of becoming the new human that you yourself will enjoy being and that this world needs from you. So thank you for listening today. Thank you for joining me, the emissaries of the third ray, my spirit guide teachers who have been with me and are helping us all with many light beings on this planet, really intensely beaming higher vibration, transmissions, activation, healing energies. There's really a lot of that coming in. So just as a final note, in those quiet moments, open and receive this healing energy. Imagine it beaming down on you. Imagine this soothing, healing, loving activation is coming for you. It's coming for all of us. It's a gift to all of us. It's a gift to the earth from the loving universe. And if we get out of our agitated state, we will receive more of this. And it will help us get through this tipping point time. You know, the old is collapsing, but it's at its worst before it breaks apart. So that's why we go, oh my God, how bad can this get? But the new is simultaneously coming in. We are saying, no, we want love. No, we want a different reality. No, we are connected. We are humane. And we are loving beings, and that's what we want. That energy is there and equally present. So if you create it for you, you contribute to the whole. If you are new to my channel, thanks for tuning in. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, or even better yet, subscribe. We're here every week talking about beautiful tools to get through this transformation, this great, powerful shift, and actually enjoy it. Can you imagine? If you've been here weekly, big hugs, big love, and I'll see you next time. All my love.